Hello, everybody, and welcome to Paranormal Nation Radio. Not so normal. How's Denise and Ron doing this evening?
We're pretty good. Nice and
We're here, 60s.
Yep, and nice in the 60s, having a great day and
good deal. Yeah, we was in the low 40s today and everything.
balmy, huh?
Yeah, but it's going to get up in the 60s and 50s for about the next week. So we're in good shape. And hello to Nigel. Thank you again.
Hey, Nigel.
And thank you for
Always in
sharing.
here.
So
Always.
yeah, tomorrow we're planning on going to the beach. Hopefully after I have an appointment tomorrow. So I figured, well, we'll be in Pensacola. Might as well go to the beach.
Right.
And we lost our guest.
Yes, we did. He'll be back on here in a second.
Yes, he will. So, but yeah, that's what we're hoping to do tomorrow. If not, maybe Saturday. You know, it's not like there's any football games on this weekend.
No. The only thing that's on this weekend will be the opening at what is it, Pebble Beach golf tournament.
Don't know. I canceled my subscription to Golf Times, and see, I have a different golf in mind, golf as opposed to golf.
Right. And sorry to hear about that, Nigel. His hamster passed away on the 25th.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hey, Susan and Mike.
Yep.
Hey, Mom.
Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Yep. Karen's here. Everybody's here. And our guest is back.
Woohoo! So our guest tonight is multiple guests on this show and some other shows on the network. We've got him, Bart Taller. He is with Paranormal Research Institute.
You want to say hi?
And lots of other things too. So we're going to talk about
And Gary.
lots and lots
Hello,
of things
Gary.
tonight. And don't be surprised, anybody, if we get off topic and it's not paranormal. But if you have a question about the paranormal, please ask it and we will answer it. But Bart has so many interests that it's easy to get off topic with him. So
Yes,
I'd
it
like to
is.
welcome Bart Taller to the show.
Hello, Bart.
Hey,
Bart,
how's
can you hear us?
everything going? Oh yeah, I can
Everything-
definitely hear you. Yeah, I just had settings wrong on my phone, but I finally got it figured out. So,
Okay.
Well, good,
Perfect.
good.
so,
So
but how's things going with you all?
going great. So since the
Good.
last time we had you on, don't remember how long ago it was because so many things have happened.
Oh my gosh,
What have you
yes.
been doing since the last time you were on?
Well, let's see. Well, I made a trip out to Chicago to see Dan and Scott from PRI and see oh shoot, just about everybody. And we got to discuss a few things while we were out there, which was amazing. And I had such a great time just visiting places out in Illinois. It was just, oh my gosh, it was just a great time. And then between work and then shoulder surgery and all that good stuff, I'm just kind of relaxing now. Just kind of doing whatever I can do to keep myself out of trouble, which
Oh,
is not really.
That's a full-time job.
Yeah, it is. It is. I guess I'm going to end up having to. I guess I'm going to have to break down and either find somebody to marry to keep me out of trouble, or just lock myself in the house. I haven't quite decided. Whichever is going to be cheapest. So
How
Lock yourself.
how is
yeah,
little Miss Josephine?
she is doing wonderful. Matter of fact, she's probably back at the house sleeping, curled up underneath the blanket. Even though I keep it a nice 70 degrees in there, she's still got to hide up underneath the blankets and snuggle up and watch her TV. So, she's probably, I think it's right about time the NCIS comes on, and she's probably sitting there just poking her head out watching it. So,
Well, I tell you, our cats we have one that even if it's 100 degrees has to be up under the covers right up next to me. This one here sleeps at my feet, Ron's feet, you name it. She's near somebody all the time.
yeah.
And then the other cat, she's been lately getting under the covers.
This is our big mouth cat.
Oh, has a lot to
You want
say,
some
huh?
treat?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like our two dogs, they like watching YouTube videos of music.
Yep.
Really?
They won't watch any other TV, but if I put YouTube music on it, they'll get down and look up at the TV and just stay right there.
You know, animals just amaze me. Oh my gosh, you know. And yeah, it's kind of one of the things, you know. Joey is my diabetic service dog, and with all of her
Mhm.
training and everything, well, you know, it'd be kind of cool to find some way to incorporate her into investigations.
Yeah.
Which
But you'd have
I
to wake
think,
her up.
yeah, pretty much. You know, I guess I could motivate her with treats or something, but you know, that might defeat the purpose of her actually doing her job. So,
Yes,
but yeah,
she's
that'd be kind of fun to do.
yeah, she does seem to enjoy her napping.
Oh my gosh, she
So
does.
I
Yeah.
mean, when we were with you guys at the in Joplin, she liked visiting with everybody, but
Oh yeah.
she was she she liked her cuddle time with her dad.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah, she definitely does
so
that. So, but
same as this one.
yep.
None of these cats realize I'm the one that saved them, but they love him.
It always happens that way.
It's the
Always
person who
happens that way.
so
Yeah, you know, I originally got Joey from my mom, and you know, only time she spent any time with mom was when I wasn't there, and so you know, but now she's like, oh, I get all of your attention. So, and boy, did she enjoy that attention. That's for sure.
and
So,
Susan
Yes, she
says your
does.
little dog is so sweet.
Yes.
Because I know on your phone you're probably not going to be able to see these comments, so I will make sure that you know about them.
oh, okay, yeah,
But
yeah. For some reason I can't see the comments. So,
On a phone,
because
it's
you're on your
hard to
phone,
see.
and
yeah.
when you're holding it like
Yeah,
this
it's
as
really,
opposed
really
to this,
small.
it's even harder to see.
Huh.
So
Okay.
you're good.
Okay.
So
Well, I can switch it too.
There
oh,
you
you
go.
don't need to worry.
All
That's
right.
good for people to view you, but
Yeah.
Okay.
but you
Yeah.
know what? We'll make sure that any comments you need to know about, we'll make sure you get to hear
Right.
Okay.
about them.
Perfect. Perfect.
So, so when you guys went up, when you went up to Chicago area, did you get to go to check out the West Clocks building?
No, we didn't. Actually, it was more of a pleasure trip than anything. But we did go on a ghost tour while we were there. That was really interesting. You know, and where Dan lives, and where Scott lives, they just an amazing town. Lots of really cool historic places. A lot of them have some pretty great backstories. And Scott and Dan thought it would be fun to set up this little tour for me to go on with this big group. And we checked out quite a few buildings out there, tunnels that actually went out underneath the buildings that they used during Prohibition era and stuff like that. And so my next intention is to go back out there and actually take equipment with me and do
Yeah.
some investigating with them. So
So did you go to Ottawa or Utica or both?
I was in Ottawa, and then they picked me up in Princeton, Illinois, and that, oh my gosh, that was a neat little town too. The train depot there is like 160 years old, something like that. And I think that would be a really cool place to investigate late at night. It's small, but I can only imagine the history that comes up out of that place.
Yeah, we went out to Utica
Mhm.
with PRI back when they weren't even. Yeah, I think it was just Dan, Scott, and Brandy at the
Mhm.
time,
Yep.
and Dan's girlfriend at the time,
Yep.
and then us, David, and John, and oh my goodness, the what was it, Duffy's, the
Oh, Dustin's Tavern.
restaurant
Yes.
bar.
Yeah.
We investigated that with David Glidden and them,
Mhm.
and we stayed out at the lodge. And Starved Rock, I told Ron, when we went, it was in February, So
Mhm.
there was no going to Starved Rock in the middle of February.
Yeah.
But there was a big, huge fishing tournament. So in a couple weeks, there'll be a huge fishing tournament out there. And I remember this trip vividly because when we came, not 6 weeks after we came back, we found out we were getting a grandkid. So,
Mhm.
so I remember this.
Yeah.
But we were sitting there at the lodge where we
Mhm.
were having the meeting, and I look over at Dan and I go, "Who's Larry?" And he goes, "What?" I said, "Who's Larry?" I said, "He's the guy in your bar that keeps moving crap around." And he goes, "Oh, well, we didn't know.
Night, Nigel.
We didn't know anything, of
Mhm.
course." And Ron and was it you and Scott or you and David walked down to the
Basement?
no, you walked down the street to that. So there was a tornado in town, and a
Mhm.
bunch of people died.
Mhm.
Me and Scott.
So Ron and Scott went down to walk down the street to check out this memoriam that was there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we didn't know. I didn't know what it was for.
Yeah, Ron didn't know what it was for. He saw it down the street. I'm investigating, doing something else, and possibly even eating because they had great food. And
Yep.
they come back and they go, "There was a Larry that drowned in the building next door." So a bunch of
Oh,
people
wow.
were in the basement of this building, and it got messed up during the tornado that came through town, and it broke the water pipes, and a bunch of people drowned in the basement of a building.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Out of all the things that you would think,
Yeah, they couldn't get out.
they couldn't get out.
Oh my goodness.
So I
Was
didn't
it-
know anything about this, but
Was it like 5? Or
I don't remember.
there's quite a few.
But they kept saying that they thought that the spirit that they had in the place, his name was Larry, but they didn't know where I got it.
Oh my gosh.
Because because there's nothing
Yeah.
on this tavern out there until basically I think when you see us investigating it with David and PRI.
Mhm.
And so it's a rather strange place, and but I thought for sure he'd try to get you guys to check out the West Clocks building where the distillery is.
Yep. Well, we actually did go over to the distillery where Dan was working at and got to check it out. And, you know, I became enamored with all the equipment that was in there. And I ended up leaving with a couple bottles of my favorite rum rye whiskey to bring back, because that's pretty much the only thing I found that I could drink that doesn't set my sugar off. And so I brought back a couple bottles of that, and then Dan was going to send me back with a bottle of Vigneault wine that I absolutely love. But I made the mistake of leaving it sit out there at Scott's place, and Scott ran out of beer about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up to go take a shower and went into the bathroom, and there was my empty bottle of Vigneault.
So did you start whining then?
I was like, what the heck happened? And Scott goes, oh, I think I drank it. And I was like, well, I know I didn't, because my sugar would probably be up about 800 right now.
Right.
And he goes, yeah, he goes, I'm pretty sure I did drink it. And he goes, I just saw it there and it was fair game. I was like, oh, okay. He goes, well, I owe you a bottle. I said, well, no, you're going to owe me 2 now. Because we tried it over where his girlfriend worked at the wine bar.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, it was amazing. I hadn't found anything that had compared to another video that we have here in Missouri. And I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely phenomenal. So I was all excited to get that thing back and, just, open it up one night and just sit there and slowly drink the bottle all night. And yeah, Scott.
Watching NCIS with Joey, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
There you
And, but yeah, it was all gone. So, but yeah, it was a great trip up there. We tried a lot of restaurants. Went to the restaurant where Dan's son is the sous chef at, and oh my gosh, I spent, well, between Dan, my meal, and everything, it came to about $150. And it was by far the best $150 I ever spent on a meal in my life. I was taking pictures of my meal and, eating a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I
What
ended up
was the
walking
name
out.
of the name of the
Oh my
restaurant?
gosh. Oh my gosh. I'll have to get back to you on that because it's on my, I have one of their t-shirts and I'm wearing it, but I can't see it right now because my hoodie's on.
Right.
So it was such a good restaurant
What
that
did you eat?
you've got to share it with everybody, right?
Okay. So I had it was an appetizer that was, fresh coho salmon that had,
We lost you.
Yeah. We
Oh,
can
no.
sing, but his sound.
okay. Sorry about
Okay.
that. There was somebody trying to call in.
Oh,
But
okay.
it had little rounds of sourdough bread and the fresh coho salmon and sprouts and a dressing that went over the sprouts that was just freaking phenomenal. And then we had, oh my gosh, I had a soup that was kind of like a beef vegetable soup that was amazing. It had melted cheese on the top of it, and then my entree. Oh, holy cow! I'm gonna have to post pictures of it again because it was just freaking amazing. Um, and then we went over right across the street over to the distillery, and oh God, I had such a great time. It was such a great time. I
Yeah.
even
I'm glad
went.
you guys had fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're fun to hang out with.
Oh yeah, Scott and I even went to an antique shop and I found one of those little dolls, with dressed up in a little Girl Scout outfit. And so I'm looking for the right person, and I'm gonna go set it on their porch with a little note that says "She's your problem now," and just leave it there, and then just wait to see what comes of it. So
I will tell you, we at Malvern Manor, Charlie got it. You got everybody else calls him Charles. I know. I call him Charlie.
uh-huh.
And him and Ernest were sharing a room at Malvern Manor.
We put it in their suitcase.
And everybody went off to investigate and I didn't, or to on the tour. And I was busy getting food together. And I had this doll. I call her Polly. And
Ugly doll.
She's ugly. She is the ugliest doll you ever want to see.
Oh yeah, she is.
I hid Polly in his backpack.
Oh my God.
And my God, you should have heard him screaming up the hall.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that would have been funny to have video of that one.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing. He knew it was me. I just couldn't stop laughing when he started screaming.
Oh my gosh. Well,
So-
it was funny because we went to another wine bar that Scott likes to go to. And right next door, you walk through a little door and you go into another antique mall. I found Star Wars socks. I ended up with R2D2, Darth Vader, and then I found a pair of Skeletor ones. And I found these socks. It's like, well, it's after hours. Can I buy these? And they're like, well, yeah, you can buy them. And I said, I've got to have every single pair of these things that you have. So I ended up going to a wine bar and buying socks. And I wear those things all over the place. Everybody's like, where did you find those? I'm like, I found them in Ottawa, Illinois. And they're like, we've got to have a pair. It's like, I can't even remember the name of the place where we found them at.
Yeah. Charlie is a huge Star Wars fan. Huge.
Yep.
And the only thing I can remember about Skeletor is when I was giving birth to my first kid, He-Man. The He-Man cartoon was on in the morning when I was at the hospital. That's the last thing I remember is watching He-Man.
Oh my God.
While after that, I was busy going, I got to have this kid for 4 or 5 hours. So
yeah.
said.
So,
So,
hurry up and get out.
well,
Oh,
you know, some of these things, you know, like when I go to I'm in the hospital for surgery, I always wear ghost socks, always
Yep.
ghosty socks.
Yep.
And so it just is what it is. If it wasn't for those dollar socks at the whatever store is selling them at that time,
Yep.
you know, I buy a pair every year or so. Hey,
Yep.
Chris.
Well,
Hi, Christopher.
Yep.
So,
Hi, Christopher. And yep. So when I had my surgery, they had me take everything off, and I said, "Well, can I wear my socks?" And the nurse looked at my socks, and she saw the Skeletor socks, and she goes, "Those are the coolest thing I've ever seen." She goes, "You may wake up and not have them on." And I said, "If they're missing, I'm coming to your house, and I will get them back." And she, you won't know where I live. I said, "I got your name. I can find you." I said, "That's no problem. I will find you." And so we were sitting there talking, and I pulled her up on Facebook. I said, "See, I found you already." And she's like, "But you don't know my address." I go, "Give me about 2 minutes." And so I went ahead and I did my thing because I still have access into when I work for 911. I still have access to the Mule system and NCIC. And I pulled her up really quick and I said, "Well, here's your address." She's like, "Oh my God." She
did
goes,
she
"I
say
promise."
you're a creepy guy?
No, she goes, "How did you know that?" I said, "Well, I used to hunt people for a living for a bail bonds company and I work for 911. They never cut my access off." I said, "So I still do occasional skip tracing for people." I said, "I told you I could find you." She goes, "I promise your socks will be on you when you wake up."
Mm.
And I said, "Okay." So I woke up to her standing at my feet calling my name. Because I told him, I said, "Don't get up around my face or anything like that when you wake me up." I said, "Because I swing occasionally." And so she was down there, she was tugging on my socks, and I just remember waking up going, "You better not be taking the socks." And she started laughing at me. And she goes, "I just wanted to make sure you were okay and, kind of wake you up a little bit." And I was like, "Well, how did I get my clothes on?" And she goes, "Well, I dressed you." I was like, "Wow, that had to have been a job." She goes, "Oh, yeah, it was because you mumbled the whole freaking time." I go, "Wow." And I said, "Well, you didn't look at my Bart Simpson tattoo." She goes, "Oh, I saw all your tattoos, honey." I was like, "Oh, my God." She goes, "I even saw your little lawnmower on the back of your head." I said, "Oh, great. That's all I needed." So, but yeah.
I've never had anybody dress me after
Yep.
surgery. So
Yeah.
May have been hoping you didn't make it.
Yeah. Well, they
They
were.
was wanting him out of there real quick. Oh, we're going to
Yeah.
dress him. He's going to leave.
Oh, yeah. Well, she was just so astounded because she was going through my history. She goes, "Yeah, I was reading your history before you even came in." She goes, "This is your 34th surgery." I said, "Yeah, I was hoping to stop at 33 with all my surgeries, but here I go screwing up my shoulder." And she goes, "My God, 18 on your legs, 2 gunshot wounds, a stabbing." And she goes, "I got to ask how you got stabbed." And I told her I got electrocuted and I fell on my tool pouch and ran a screwdriver into my butt cheek. She goes, "Oh my God, that had to have hurt." I said, "Well, it wasn't so bad that it hurt." I says, "It was getting rolled in through the waiting room of the hospital at the old St. Luke's and on a gurney with a screwdriver sticking out of my backside." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, that had to have been funny." And I said, "Yeah." And I says, "And then the 2 gunshot wounds one was an accidental shooting, the other one was an intentional. And then, everything else." And she's like, You just need to write a book." I said, "Maybe one day."
That's about true. You do need to write a book about
Oh
all your
God. Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah. Oh God. I don't know if
Hold
that,
on.
I
That's
don't know. I don't know if that would be a bestseller if everybody'd be like, "Oh my God."
wanted to ask me what
just-
state I was in.
But now,
one of the 57.
so one of the cool things, actually, we got some little bit of PRI news that's coming up. Dan has got him a supercomputer now that he had custom built for him, and we're going to start utilizing that on PRI investigations. It looks like, and we're looking into AI technology.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to use the AI technology to analyze video for us, and I am in the process of gathering up some audio engineers, not only from the studio side of it, but from the live side of it. And we're going to try and come up with an AI program that will actually cut down the analyzing time of audio for us. So we
That's
let
Oh,
the AI program actually do the analyzation of the audio, and if it finds any anomalies for us, we can go in. The humans can go back in and look at it, and then maybe use AI to enhance the recording for us to see if we can make it clearer. And but everything will still be peer reviewed by humans, but we want to try and utilize that technology in real time and in the analyzation process of it.
It's really important with AI though that you keep people in it
Yes.
because there is so many things out there people don't remember. They don't remember this is that it's a computer. It doesn't know what you know. It doesn't understand the inflection. It doesn't understand, that's what I do that's what I used to do for my job. They're still trying to figure out how to use me at this company. But that was what I did was, they talk about how computers, they can do certain things. They can, I used some AI to help write my resume, but I still took it and made it mine and took the stuff out.
Yeah.
But that I didn't like. But
well, it's kind of like the lines of closed caption too. When
Yeah.
we're doing shows, people put closed captions on. They hear different words come out in the closed captions than what we're actually saying.
Yeah, but sometimes the closed captioning actually picks up what we're saying and makes it a different word.
Yes, it does.
And see, it's the same thing.
We tried closed captioning when we were listening to the EVPs and that.
I do that. I do use it for that.
Yep. Yeah. So and we're also looking at when we do our investigations and stuff. Brandy, being the cartographer and everything, and she is such a great asset, and pays such a great attention to detail and everything that we want to be able to utilize the AI to help her in the cartography also, and we're looking at different aspects that we can use it. But we also want to keep a very tight rein on how it's being used.
I agree. I think for the cartography part, it's huge.
Right.
Because that's exactly how, to be honest, that's kind of how AI kind of started, was like technically speaking and things like that. And you can take that information and stick it in a database and utilize it as long as you tagged it right. So, if you guys need any help, let me know.
Okay. Yeah. The biggest thing we're worried about is, because AI is just, they are not keeping a tight rein on it. And, we're actually seeing videos coming out of, AI generated videos. We're seeing, even the newest scam now is taking a sample of audio and just using a small sample, then creating a whole new person that sounds like you or I. They could take a sample of my voice and then make a whole dialogue with just a small sample.
Right. And they have done that. I mean, if you watch any of the little ads on your phone between games, things like that, that Ice-T is not out there promoting tap jams.
Yeah.
You know that. It's not. I look at all this stuff and go, I know that this is AI generated.
Mhm.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I don't want to be some of the stuff that they're doing using the AI for. I can see that saves a lot of
Mhm.
money.
Yeah.
But you've just got to be really careful at what you're putting out there. I know that somebody could go out there and make somebody say everything I say. Hell, they don't even have to use AI to do that.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know, and that's one of the things that people need to understand. AI is one thing,
Mhm.
but whatever you're putting out there,
Mhm.
people can get and they can become theirs. So just be careful of that.
Yeah,
Right.
and that is the biggest thing, them not keeping a tight rein on this, and
And they're not going to.
yeah, and it's gonna be now, you'll get news stories and it'll be like, well, I don't know if that's true or not. It could be AI generated, and AI is
Mhm.
getting so good now, and it's just becoming self-aware of itself, and it just makes things even better to where you can't tell.
Well,
And
maybe not
that's our
better,
biggest thing.
but
Yeah.
yeah, AI CGI
Mhm.
is huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. I mean, they're going to be making films and they're not going to need the damn actors.
Right.
Exactly.
They're making
Exactly.
music and they don't need people to sing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Nope.
and I can tell you, every job I've ever had that was doing this type of stuff, nobody ever lost the job because I did what I did. It enhanced
Uh-huh.
their job to where I could do the monkey work and they could be doing what they needed to do.
Yeah.
The way that they're utilizing it, in Chicago, they opened up an all AI restaurant. This is
Mhm.
McDonald's. Nobody works there.
Yeah.
Everything is through the computer and robots and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Mhm.
How many people could have had jobs otherwise? Who feels
Mhm.
like we're living in Wall-E, the movie Wall-E?
Yeah.
I mean, I realize it's a cartoon, but a lot of times this stuff all comes back to reality, what
Yeah.
reality is doing.
Mhm.
Like
Yep. So
Christopher
there's one
says,
in
there's a
California as
restaurant
well.
somewhere in California that doesn't have human employees. They all have AI.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Chris, yeah,
like I said, there was one in Chicago too that I had
Mhm.
seen earlier.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they're
And
And
all over becoming all over the place.
mhm. And the thing
yeah.
is I would have assumed that it would have been a Starbucks that would have been one of the first things that would have been.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just saying, coffee is not really that hard. I mean, they make it
Mhm.
hard, but heck, with all these apps to order your food and stuff,
Mhm.
everybody's getting kiosk savvy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yet
I
I've never ordered anything DoorDash.
Yeah, I don't order anything DoorDash. I don't have anything delivered. I refuse to use a kiosk or self checkout. Well, except for I will use a self checkout at Walmart when I buy ammo. Because if I go through and they have a clerk, then they limit me to 3 boxes. When I check out through self checkout, I can grab as many boxes of ammo I want, and all the person has to do is come over and confirm my age, and away I go. And that's pretty much. And then when I do that, I also use cash in the machine.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I walked into Walmart one time and I thought, man, I'm going to just try this. All they can do is say no. So I grabbed 30 boxes of 12 gauge shells, went to self checkout, and the lady just came over, checked my ID and everything, put in my date of birth, and I walked out with 30 boxes of 12 gauge shells.
Yeah,
And
but
I
they
was
got
like,
a picture of you buying it.
well, yeah, they have a picture of me buying it, but I was like, okay, well, that's fine. They can have all the pictures they want because I can always shave, and so I did that. I went back the next day and bought more, and even had the clerk back in Sporting Goods grab me some that they were just getting ready to bring out, and I said, I'm going to take those too. And he's like, well, you can only get 3 boxes. I said, watch me. And I grabbed everything and headed out the door with it. And he was like, holy crap. So,
Here they still sell used guns at Walmart here.
oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
I was
awesome.
shocked as anything because I haven't seen a Walmart with. Yeah, that's why I said used and new, but you can buy used ones, which is even stranger. But
Oh, wow.
How are they
in
getting the
Kansas,
used
you
guns?
couldn't buy guns at
Yep.
Walmart.
No,
probably
Facebook, you're not blocked yet.
Well, probably what's happening is people are bringing them back, and when they bring them back, they can't sell them as new. Because I know when I have guns come in um, for a trade in or something like that, I cannot sell, even though it's never been shot. I can't sell it as new. It's listed as used,
Right.
and usually when we do the buybacks on stuff like that, um, you're basically, we give them a quarter of what they originally paid for it,
Yeah.
and that's the norm in the industry. Is you get about a quarter to just under half of what you originally paid for the gun, and then we take it in. And you have to put a blue tag on it, and say that it was used, and list everything that comes with it, and stuff like that. Is that a cricket that's going on?
No, that's a
No,
REM pod.
REM
REM
pod.
pod.
It hadn't been
Okay.
going off at all
Yeah.
while we're doing the show until now.
Oh, okay. Because I've got one of those little. Oh, I had bought like a package of 5 of those little cricket devices. It sounds like a cricket going off every 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I planted them like Easter eggs around the O'Reilly store where I'm at. And it drives all the clerks nuts because they're out there looking for these things, and because they're constantly going off, and they can't figure out where the crickets are coming from. They've actually had the exterminator come out a few times to try and get rid of the crickets and stuff, and they're just fun.
When Ghost Adventures was at the Sally house, they had a problem with crickets in the basement the whole time. Don't know why, but yeah, I hadn't seen guns in a Walmart since we left Arkansas.
Yeah, I'll be
So-
darned. And then speaking of the crickets, I remember I had a microphone set up at the Hall of Waters up in Excelsior Springs,
Mhm.
and had it set up in the pool area. And I kept hearing this cricket noise coming up through this monitor speaker there at command center.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I've got to find this cricket. Every time I walk out there, it would stop. So in that room, if you've ever been at the Hall of Waters in Excelsior, it's an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And I searched and searched for about 2 hours. And I'd walk a little bit, it would stop, and I wait for him to kick back up. Then I go looking some more. So I finally found this thing on the other side of the pool area, and over by the diving board where the diving board used to be. And I was like, "Holy crap! That microphone is on the other side of the room, picking this cricket up like like it was right next to it." And I put that thing out of its misery, and I finally got good recordings the rest of the night. But that was one of the audio anomalies that I had. But there was probably a good 2 hours that I had messed up audio just because of that stupid cricket. So, but I've thought about getting a few of those and putting them in over at on some of the investigations that we do just to mess with everybody.
Oh, well, that would probably piss somebody off, because what happens if it starts making noise during the EVP, during the EVP session?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. But it would be one of those deals where I do the walkthrough and I lay a few of them and then go back and pick them up about an hour later, and then then they have the really good investigation. But yeah, it'd be something I would do just to be ornery. But
So,
and then,
Bart, do you know anything about the REM pods?
actually, I dismantled one.
Okay.
Lisa and Peggy gave me one to fix. It had a broken antenna in it. And so the REM pod is actually made out of a 4-inch diameter piece of PVC that you can get at a Home Depot. And the internal electronics, yep. And there is more epoxy in that thing than you care to. That's why it's got a little bit of weight, is because it's all the electronics are filled with epoxy, so you can't really get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got it tore down. Actually, on the PRI website, or page on Facebook, I think you can actually find some of the pictures I took as I was dismantling the thing. And all the electronics in that are um, about $7 or $8 worth of electronics that you can get through Electronic Supply
Oh
online.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And to set that off, basically all you need is like a two-way radio or FM radio frequency or AM radio frequency blowing through there, and it will set that off.
Mm-hmm.
Or even motion of static electricity will set that off.
Yeah. If you move it, it'll go off.
Yes.
Microwave waves make it go off? Or
Yes,
any
LED, fluorescent,
radio waves?
the radio wave, any type of radio wave will set it off. An electronic ballast in a fluorescent light fixture will set it off. LED lights will set it off. Not one of the best things I would use as an investigative tool,
Keep looking at
but
you.
whoever designed that originally, they made a moneymaker. It's a moneymaker. They play on, on the paranormal field, thinking, oh, this is a great investigative tool, when it's easily debunked. And it just amazed me how cheaply it was put together,
Right.
yet how much they charge for it.
Yeah.
Probably what,
I
$770
looked into making the things because I knew what was in it.
Yeah,
Ghost gear and Ghost Stop. These list anywhere from $170 to $189.
yep.
Yeah, and
And
like you said, $7 worth of electronics parts.
Yeah, it sounds to
Exactly.
me like they're making $170
Yeah.
to $150 to $170 off each one.
yeah,
Right.
easily making that kind of money off of it. And
Depends on how fancy you make them look and how pretty, and that's where you can charge.
Yeah.
And I know there's investigative tools out there that I think are really good, for the most part, but they haven't been scientifically verified.
Right.
And
What would you say is the worst one out there? Does it start with an O?
Oh God, the obelisk. Yes. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Hey,
Yeah,
we got a good question for you. We had a guest on a show that had the obelisk,
Mm-hmm.
and we asked her, "Does it have a built-in microphone in it?" And she goes, "No, it don't." And I said, "I know a person that took one apart, and it's got a microphone
I actually knew they
in it."
did when they came out.
Yeah, and they still do.
Yeah.
They still do have one in there. It's about the
Yeah.
size of a it's smaller than a pinhead, really. But yeah, when I had that obelisk left in my office and it sat there for all that time and I took it apart, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this. And it was so easy to reprogram that thing,
Right.
I have the
Program it to
equipment
what
to
you
do it.
want.
Yeah, I can make it say whatever I want. I could
much.
change that, that library of 512 words, on the original or on the original obelisk. Well, I wanted it to say demon every single time, I would.
Right.
It's that easy. And the same thing with the apps that we get. The apps are pretty bogus, because they're using the internal microphone on your phone, number one. So they're constantly listening. The thermal imagers, unless you actually have the FLIR device,
Right.
on your phone, you're not going to. Your phone doesn't have all those sensors that you need to actually do what it needs to do.
No.
and here you are, you're paying somebody, and it's just not the best thing to be using. So, and then, I know they're at Ovilus 4 now, I think it is,
5.
or 5, something like that. So all that is just another uh
Software
you
update.
yeah, well, it's a new
They updated
universe.
it with a 2,500 word bank in
Yeah,
it
and that,
now.
and
Oh, wow.
each universe uh, or library is 512 words, and that's based on the digital multiplexing or DMX protocol that we use for light fixtures. And well, DMX is being used for a lot of things now, but for the automated light fixtures that we see in the concert industry, and that library is made. You can program that using WordPad on Windows, and then upload it to the chip, which all it takes is a dongle and uh, chip reader to be able to do it. And the chip readers you can buy now for like $40 or $50, and be able to upload those words to the library.
Yeah.
Now,
And all
Right.
you got to do is say, hey, these words aren't in the Ovilus.
yep,
How is it saying them? Well, that's because.
it's hitting
Yeah.
it's hitting that trigger word, and it's hitting that trigger word, and then it pulls something out of that library. And the way the DMX
Mhm.
protocol is a universe is basically 512 channels. And let's say you're at a concert and you see a light fixture that moves up and down. Well, each light fixture uses so many channels to do the movements, the color changes, and stuff like that. So you can have, let's say a light fixture uses 8 channels. So it uses 8 channels out of those 512 channels that you have in the universe. Well, that's you input words instead of movements into the each channel, and it will pull from that library. And so that's how that works. And I've written a couple papers on it, and everybody gives me grief on this, and it's like, here we've had 5 or 6 of my peers that were in the lighting design world and look at it, and they're like, God, this is the easiest thing to program. All it is DDL
Yep.
language.
Mm-hmm.
And and we had Bill Chappell was all bent out of shape, and
Because
I
you
thought
let
that,
his secrets out.
Yeah.
of course, and
Everybody,
They're
you know,
making big money off something that doesn't work. Yeah, when I see him whip out that Ovilus, I roll my eyes. I pay no
Yeah, I
attention
back
to it. I
off.
can care less.
yeah,
She rolls her eyes when they do the flashlight trick.
yep,
Right?
the flashlight trick is
Flashlight
another.
trick.
Yep,
I got more confidence in the flashlight trick than I do the Ovilus.
yep. Now the
That
flashlight
Ovilus
trick
is
is
a
another one that
joke.
gets me. Oh, what do you call it?
The flashlight trick sucks too, but
Yeah, and then the other one was the one that
Ovilus sucks worse.
the one that scans the room. It's like, oh, there's somebody standing next to you. Use
Yeah.
this. Oh, what is that thing called?
Oh,
uh,
oh crap.
Connect.
Right.
No,
Yeah, the
that's
Connect.
That
The Connect.
what is it called? The S.
SLS.
SLS.
SLS. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can set that off too. All I gotta do is have a 2-way radio in my back pocket and key it up, and I can make an image pop up next to me.
Yeah.
And
It's.
or I can have
know.
a universal remote will do the same thing. All you can do is push the volume button or the channel button, and it's going to set that thing off. So
I want to come out. I'm going to call the Romulus, and I'm going to take it on investigations. That sucker's going to say demon a lot. Oh,
yeah.
Romulus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun to have it just push the library up and say the fraudulous.
Fraudulous. There you go.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that would be fun to just program one and then just say bring it in on an investigation, just like you said, Ron, just put it out there and just let it roll.
Yep.
And then
demon behind you. demon
Oh,
behind
gotcha.
right next to you.
Yeah.
Demon.
The
yeah,
fraudulent.
that one that says "get out,
Oh, we can get out.
get out."
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, the fraudulent demon is behind you, and yeah, that would be awesome. So
Uh,
I'll have to dig through and see if I can find that original Ovilus that I took apart and just reprogram the chip again and just to do that. That would be
Yeah,
so
have
much
some fun
fun.
with it.
yeah, the thing
Yeah.
that people don't realize is how reactive that is. It's not objective, it's not subjective, it's reactive.
Mhm.
And so if it's just listening for words that you would say during a paranormal investigation,
Mhm. Now,
it's going to be interesting to
I was going to say,
see what else makes it come up.
does everyone
Yeah.
on here know what you used to do? They may not. Might give them a little
Oh.
background of what you used to do.
What your
Yeah.
previous
Well,
job was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
check.
Well, I started out originally in theater production doing lighting and staging design, but I went back to doing audio for live concerts and studio engineering after about 3 years in the industry. But I've been 31 years as an audio engineer, and about 17 world concert tours under my belt, and over probably 600 artists I've worked with, national and regional artists. I worked with with the likes of Garth Brooks. I've worked with Buddy Guy. I've worked with BB King. I've worked with oh my gosh, Roger Daltrey. I've done audio for Marilyn Manson. I've done just a whole gamut of live sound and studio production. And so, and that's where I've gained my experience, and I guess I don't really call myself an expert because I learn new things every day. And I
Right.
learn different techniques from other audio engineers that it's like, wow, I never thought about doing it this way. I can incorporate it into my live shows. But I officially retired in 2022. In December 2022, I totally got away from the industry. I still mix sound occasionally from local bands, but now I can actually spend more time working with doing the paranormal stuff. I've been approached by other larger paranormal groups and shows to actually come on and basically be a consultant, which is not something I want to do. I do teach audio classes to paranormal groups, and yeah, there is a fee for it, but my time is valuable
Right.
in this industry. But I bring all the equipment. We have them set up an investigation. I show them how we set it up, how to properly mic up a room, how to run your cables so people aren't tripping over it. I give them basically the whole concert production of setup and show them how to really, really get great recordings and how to analyze them. I was part of the a couple projects where Audacity. I was a contributor to them until they started selling the software to governments to analyze audio recordings. And when they changed the software around to where other people who had the know-how could actually get into your private audio recordings and download them, and giving other people access to your content. There was quite a few of us that stepped away. We no longer contribute to it. And I moved on to other software that we use to analyze. I teach people how to to record in waveform, which is the most decompressed way of collecting audio. Granted, it takes up more space, but it is the purest form in the digital recording that you can get close to analog. And then how to use a stereo equalizer, how to filter out the recordings without changing anything in the software or the original recorded file, so you can analyze it. Because it changes when you make changes in the software. It creates a little tag and it tells you what was done to change it. So if you're listening and using the equalizer, it's not changing anything in the digital coding of your recording, and then you can re-record that into another waveform and still have your original recording.
Right.
And when I get I have people send me EVPs to analyze. That's the first thing I look at is the meta tags, and if they changed anything and they're using, they send me one they've tried to analyze themselves. I just, send them an email or I call them on the phone and say, hey, there's nothing I can do with this. Do you have the original recording?
Right.
And if they don't, then, there's nothing I can do. And that's
Okay,
something
we have a question here for you, Bart.
Sure.
It's from Steve Foster. What's the best way of cleaning up an EVP?
Okay. Hey, Steve. So great question. So what I normally do is I use a playback software and play the original recording, which should be recorded in WAV format, not MP3 or MP4 or anything like that, because MP3 and MP4 basically is compressing the audio. Okay, the WAV format is basically almost the closest thing you can get to an analog recording. So what I do is I play that recording in the WAV format through my monitor speakers. And between my computer and the monitor speakers, I have a 31 band stereo equalizer. So I can take out frequencies between 30 hertz and 22 kilohertz. And I normally just start bringing them down from the low end of 30 hertz on up to about 80 hertz. I knock anything below 80 hertz completely out of the mix. And then from 2.4 on up to 22 kilohertz, I knock those completely out. So you basically want your mid-range frequencies there. And that is the closest thing to most normal human voice. And then I start manipulating those frequencies up or down until that audio recording is cleared up. Okay. So during that time, you have not changed that original recording. You're just going back and playing it through and just filtering out with the equalizer. And then what I do is I'll take, after I get everything cleared up and I get to where I find it sufficient, I will disconnect from my speakers and put a patch cord into a recording device like another computer, the microphone input of a computer, and record. I'll play that recording as it goes through the main computer, through the equalizer with the filters taken out or the frequencies taken out, and record it onto the other computer. And then I have that manipulated recording that I can use as a reference. And so what that there, I can use that recording that I've done. I can manipulate that more, or if I find out I need to go back to my reference of the original recording, I can go back and I have two to compare to. And I can take multiple recordings of what I manipulated each time and still have that original recording. And for evidentiary aspects of that, what I can do is if I submit it, say like they wanted me to clean up a recording for, say, a criminal investigation. I could actually have the original recording and play that next to the one that I filtered out using the equalizer. And they can also see that the meta tags have not changed at all between the two recordings, and that you're just getting the manipulation of the equalizer. There is no electronic tag per se on that.
Right.
And so that's how I clean those up. I don't use any of the filters that are built into the softwares, because, like I had mentioned earlier, they put a tag in there, and it tells you, okay, well, I used a noise limiting filter on at this certain point in the recording, or I've used a compressing filter in this section of the recording. And so when you use stuff like that, they do not like that for evidence at all. And so that's how I do mine. And you can honestly, if you want, you can reach out to me on Facebook at my, because I'm always in Facebook jail, but so far I've been pretty good on this account. I haven't been too bad on it, but you can reach me at Bernard Weekend on Facebook, and you can't miss it. There's a picture of me standing in a Tigger costume, and you can reach out to me and shoot me a message and a friend's request, and I'll be happy to sit there even late at night and just give you ideas, and I can even give you my personal cell number, and I can walk you through the steps over the phone on how to clear it up and give you ideas on the equipment that you need to do. Because a lot of this equipment you can buy at very reasonable prices. Granted, I've got a 31 band stereo EQ that's worth about $4,500 that I use, but there's others that are just as good, that you can utilize and that are still being used today.
Oh, what's
What was that, Ron?
Oh, he's just saying hi to Dara.
Hi,
Earlier,
Dara.
Caitlin was in there, so hey there, girls. I hope you guys are doing good. So how do you feel about the Audacity program?
Well, the Audacity, like I said, I was a contributor to them for quite a long time, and under one of my pseudonyms, and we basically contributed filters that you could use for like the live recordings, studio recordings, stuff like that. Mostly what we do is like compressors, which really compresses the vocal down, so it's not using so much space on your recordings. And then vocal effects like delays and echoes, stuff like that. But when Audacity started, it was a nonprofit project that was peers from all over the world contributing. When the original makers of Audacity started to market it to government for investigative purposes, you got people like the Secret Service, you've got people like the CIA, the Israeli government, the Russian governments were all buying this software to basically spy on the people. And the program had little deals built into it that these governments could actually log into a person's computer and steal their audio recordings, their personal, content. And, and that was, this was right as AI was starting to make a big thing in the news and everything. And so there was quite a few of us that left the project and you no longer contribute anymore. And that really made it hard on us because so many people love that program. Now,
Yeah.
if I get people
Yeah.
that have to send me an Audacity recording, it's like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I cannot help you on this.
So what program? Okay, because 99% of the people in the paranormal are not going to be able to go to the lengths you go to. They're used to, being able to do it themselves.
Mhm.
Which programs should we be looking at for? Because I was using Audacity to actually do my EVPs.
Yep.
That was my
That's what
Right.
we're using.
that was my recorder. Not
Yep.
I wasn't. So mine were clean. Here you
Mhm.
go. It's straight
Yep.
from this. There's not going to be any changing of it.
Yep.
So
So
what
so
do you suggest I use now?
okay, so now I use several, but some that are affordable that are what I tell people to use. There's a software called Reaper that is out there that is really good. I think you can pick up Reaper for right around. I think they've had it run a special on it here lately. I think it's right about $149, and it gives you unlimited software updates.
So
And
it's a one-time buy, and
yeah, it's a one-time buy, and then
they
you get
support it.
yep, and it's supported by everybody. It'll record in WAV format. It'll let you convert to MP3 and MP4. It'll let you record in MP4 and all those other formats. But like I said, I tell everybody to record strictly in WAV format, especially if they go to the extent that I do on investigations. And then another one that is somewhat affordable, is Pro Tools HD. It's high definition. That's another great one, and it's a little pricey, but once again, that's lifetime updates on it, and that's very very well used in the industry. Oh, excuse me. Then we get into the really high dollar stuff that a lot of times I use too, is the Sony recording studio. And that their digital audio workstation is, oh gosh, I think my original purchase for it was about $5,000, and then
Wow.
buying plugins for it was plugins get kind of pricey. It just depends on the person who wrote the plugin for it. But those plugins can they can be anywhere from free to all the way up to, I've seen them go as high as $1,000 for
Is
plugin.
there any software that you would suggest people get that's open source?
I haven't seen a good open source software come out in a long time. I don't. Me personally, I won't use Audacity, and I won't tell people not to use Audacity. I'll tell them how to use it. But when it comes to taking those recordings, I would immediately put them onto a external hard drive, and then delete the original file off of my computer, and leave that playlist completely empty, and just draw from the external hard drive, or actually have it record to that external hard drive, and disconnect it when you're done. Don't leave it on the computer that's hooked up to the internet or anything like that, because it's so easy to get those recordings. So they can still use Audacity. Just I just don't take any credence in it anymore. So,
Right.
and sorry,
I
sorry,
was
sorry,
I
I'm
was
sorry.
looking up at Reaper that
Uh-huh.
you was talking about
Yep.
and everything. They have two different licenses. They have a discounted license for
Uh-huh.
$60 and a commercial license for $225.
Yeah. The commercial license is the one I got, and it has way more features on it. And so yeah, that's probably one of the better ones to get. And that commercial license is that is like I said, you get unlimited updates to it.
What would be the difference between the discounted and commercial as far as
Well,
what's in it? And
there's different filters. There's more professional filters in the commercial one because you're using that for audio editing for, whatever you're doing, like studio recording, or if you're doing like live broadcasts, stuff
mhm.
like that. The inputs, you can do more audio inputs. You can do, I think on the commercial one is an infinite amount of microphone inputs, and it will
It does.
work with other audio consoles. You know, because I think if I remember right, the discounted one has certain audio desks that that you can utilize in it. It'll let you use like the Behringer X32 audio desk, or anything from Behringer or something like that. But whereas you get into the high dollar stuff that I use, like Digico, Yamaha, or I get into the Neve consoles. These are anywhere from $6,000 to $180,000 audio desks that I utilize in my
So
field.
it sounds to me like it's based on how you're using it. So you would want
Yes.
commercial if you're doing something that's going to be very, very professional.
Mhm.
Is it quite possible that the commercial one has multiple users available as opposed to just one user?
That's the funny thing is I don't know if it lets you utilize multiple users or multiple computers because me utilizing the commercial one, I admit I don't have backups. But I think it may let you put it onto up to so many computers on that, or other users, maybe 5 users, something like that. Um, I don't really know. I never had a reason to send it out to somebody else that already didn't have what I had.
And
Yeah,
one nice thing
sometimes
So,
about
some
the Reaper is
mhm.
you get to download it and evaluate it for 60 days before you have to pay for
Yes,
it.
yeah, yeah, you can
that's
download.
good.
That's good.
So yeah, it
So,
would just make me wonder if it's seat license or concurrent or single user, things like
Well,
that that
the
most people
discounted
don't
was
think
for
about.
personal use and commercial is for business use.
yeah,
Right.
Is
commercial
basically what I
commercial is
read.
what I utilize it for because I can take a Reaper file and I can have an infinite amount of microphones hooked up to my audio desk, and then input it into Reaper, and
Right.
it'll
But
mimic
for
everything
most
that's on my audio
paranormal
console.
for most paranormal teams going through their evidence, they could get by with the individual, the discounted use one, right?
They could, but yeah, they could definitely do that. I'm not sure if the individual one limits how long of a recording you can do. I don't I just never played with that. I just went straight to the commercial license on it.
Right.
Well, it
And
sounds like
but
I need to do a little research.
Yep. But
Yeah.
when I purchased my commercial license, I got it probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I think it cost originally. I think it cost me $150 or $175, and I get updates like once every couple months on it. So, and then the Pro Tools HD. That's another one. I've got the commercial license on it, and I think I've got maybe, but with all the adapters that I bought for it, I think in my
Yeah.
Pro Tools after the initial software cost me like about $300 or $400,
Hmm.
and then all the peripherals and stuff that I bought, external stuff that I bought, I probably got maybe $4,000 or $5,000 tied up in it.
Right.
Um, but that's, well, I don't really use it much anymore. I'll use it on paranormal investigations, but when I was doing a lot of live recordings, I utilized it all the time. So
It eventually becomes what you're used to using. becomes the thing that you use the most, regardless of cost. If you're used to it, you're going to use it. That's why I was asking, about, concurrent seat, individual, a lot of people probably don't even know what most of those things are.
Well, there's also a company that I originally designed their server case for them probably about 15, 16 years ago, so they could have swappable hard drives. And this was made strictly for audio recording. And it's a company called PC Audio Lab. They're based out of California, and they will actually make a computer strictly for audio for you. And it will have all the commercial software on there that you need. They are pricey, but my God, they are well worth it. They do laptops now. They do regular, rack mounted PCs, so you can put it in a shock mounted road case and take it on the road with you. And one of the first people that actually bought, after I designed the original case for them, and this is how I met him, was Alan Parsons from the Alan Parsons Project. He bought one of the original PCs from PC Audio Labs when they first started, and he utilizes their equipment in his studio all the time. And then there's other companies out there that are good. But I always fall back onto the guys at PC Audio Labs. They make a great product. And if you're really serious about it and you want to do stuff, other audio projects out to the side, they're the guys to go to. And it's actually more affordable to utilize their equipment, purchase from them because it's already built for it, and to do all the stuff that you needed to do and get the software updates automatically from them than it would be to build your own. It's a lot more cost effective.
Right.
So,
I want to say hi to April. I'm hopeful she's not in the ER tonight.
Yeah.
Hi, April. All right.
So, and hey, Brandon and Bart. Brandon says hi.
Hey, Brandon, is that Brandon Cooper?
Yep.
Yeah, the gnome boy.
Gosh. Yes. Hey, Brandon, you need to call me one of these days.
What do you want him to call you?
Because I think me, Scott, and Dan and Brandy want to come down to South Dakota again because we had such a great time down there.
You mean South Carolina?
Or South Carolina, that's it. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, South Dakota. I have Sturgis on my mind. Because I'm going to Sturgis here pretty soon. But yeah, we want to come down to South Carolina again and actually stay at the Airbnb where we were at originally. Because the little restaurant that we went into, oh my God, it was amazing. So we want to go down there and visit them again. And I need more shrimp and grits. And I need to go over to
Yes, you ought to come down here. You ought to come down here. Every restaurant has shrimp and grits. Shrimp and grits here.
Well,
and you want to know how we use grits here?
How that?
I eat them. She doesn't.
We use the grits to kill the ants.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, because it puffs up inside of them.
Yep. It puffs them up. Yep. So, but if you do go to South Carolina, let us know.
Okay.
In advance. Don't have Scott call me the day that you're leaving.
Okay.
Like he always does.
Usually calls the day
they're coming into town.
Right.
We live 7 hours away.
Okay.
From there. Tell Scott if he's going to call us to call us at least a week before so we can make plans.
Yep. Well, it was funny because I brought back a mess load of grits and sauces from the mill where we had the event at, and me and the neighbor kind of ran out of everything. So rather than have them ship it up, I'd much rather go back to the mill during the day and explore the place, and get my grits and everything, and just bring them back with me again. And everybody down there was, oh my God, it was so fun down there. So yeah, we want to do it again. And so, and I can schedule vacation time as long as I don't use up, because they just handed me 13 days of PTO time on my anniversary. So I'm like, trying not to use that up. And I think I would use all 13 days to come down to South Carolina. And
I'll tell you, I've never been to South Carolina. Never.
No.
Nope. North Carolina, I've been to quite a few times, but I've never been to South Carolina. And the town where the mill is, my son-in-law's mother and his family lives there.
oh wow.
So that's why we had wanted to come to the paranormal conference, but because we had already found a house and we knew that we were moving, we couldn't do that and move at the same time.
Understandable.
And I feel so bad that Brandon had to cancel this year's paranormal
Yeah.
conference. But when he does the next one, it will be great anyway, because everybody's going to be excited to be there. And I think people are going to be going, we missed it. We missed out on it before. We're going to be there.
And,
so,
granted, last year there was a couple of hiccups, but once we got down there, oh my God, it was freaking amazing. You know, we had such a great time meeting everybody, got to hang out with Brandon, you know, and all the people that were there, you know, it was just, it was so amazing, you know, and the people in 6 Mile where we stayed at, oh my gosh, I couldn't have asked for a better experience, you know, and I've traveled, I mean, all over the world. In South Carolina, my God, it was amazing. And I actually got to see my son when I had a layover in Atlanta. I got to spend some time with him and went and had lunch and all that good stuff. And so that made the trip well worth it. And I think I'll do that type of trip again, where I can fly in, do the layover in Atlanta, see my kid, hand him money, and
well, you know, that's funny because most people try to avoid the Atlanta airport.
Yeah. I know.
Flying stuff. That's kind of
if you're flying Southwest, you don't have a choice. But
If Devin and his mom weren't in Atlanta, I would have been like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and wait, you know. But it was well worth it. And
it's a nice airport. I mean, there's a lot of places to eat inside. I mean, hell, you could probably live inside their airport.
Yep. And then where I flew into South Carolina I think it was Greenville.
Yeah.
Is where I flew into.
That's the next biggest town.
That airport, my God, that place it's small, but my God, it was freaking amazing.
Did it remind you of KCI when it was good?
A little bit, but Greenville actually had a green space. Once you got past the security checkpoint, they had a green space where I could take Joey out, let her run, and go to the bathroom and all that stuff, and then we could go in, grab a coffee or lunch or whatever while we were waiting to get on the plane. And the people there, oh my gosh, the people at the airport were phenomenal. The security people, they were just, you know, well, I'm getting my secondary screening as I always do. They're sitting over there just loving on Joey, petting on her and hugging on her and everything. I'm like, well, God, why didn't I get this treatment when I come through? Instead, I get to go through the X-ray and get patted down. And so
if you're getting the same treatment she's getting, it's not because they think you're a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get a kiss on the forehead like she did. So, you know, so that kind of bummed me out. But no, Greenville was amazing. And the country down there was just, oh my gosh, I can't say enough. You know, and I came from 30 degrees down to 80 degrees one day. I was like, oh my gosh, this is phenomenal.
You guys did end up with really good weather when you were in South Carolina.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap. And it's crazy me figured, I'm going to have to pack winter shorts. So I had my flannel line shorts with me and I was like dying. And I'm like, oh, this is miserable. But, you know, other than that, it's like, oh man, I can take my hoodie off. And then where the event space where we were at, It was nice and it was spread out, but where all the vendors were was nice and cozy. You could go see everybody. Um, and all in all, that was probably next to Kansas City. That's probably the one of the best paranormal conventions I've ever been to. And it is a shame that we couldn't do it this year with Brandon. And it was a no go. But I want Brandon, and I know Scott, Dan, and Brandy and I and everybody have said anything we can do to help to make that happen next year. We want to jump in on it.
Yeah. The
I
biggest
don't.
problem that he had was sponsors. It was very
Yep.
hard to get some people to let go of the money to help out. And
Until,
I
that's
understand,
understandable.
yeah, there's got to be a way to have a paranormal conference that does not cost the person that's doing it
Uh-huh.
an arm and a leg.
Yeah, just
Yep.
to get them there.
Just to get people there, because I've told people this 100 times over. If you want me to come to your paranormal conference and we can come, we will,
Mhm.
but we're paying our own way.
Yep.
Right.
You
Yep.
know, that's the
Well-
way that I feel like you should do it, because
Yep.
that's
Well,
we're not stars. We're not,
Yep.
and even if we were,
Mhm.
I mean, don't the stars, aren't they supposed to have more money? Why do they need
Well-
to get paid
Well,
that much to come?
the TV personalities and stuff like that. That's what they do. Is they get paid for their appearances. Well, that's like me. If I go out and I teach an audio class, I get paid for my expertise. And
I understand that. But when it comes to the paranormal,
there's no
there's
experts.
zero experts.
Yeah, there's
There's
no
just
experts.
people who have been on
No.
TV.
Yep.
But
Well,
the way I
but
look at it is they need to kind of profit share.
Well, and in some aspects, I agree with that. But now with like in my field, in the audio field, there's more of us in the audio field that are into the paranormal than most people know. Same thing with videographers, the guys that do the video. And they're coming down speaking at these engagements and stuff. A lot of times it boils down to, okay, you take care of my hotel and you take care of part of my travel expenses to get down there. I'll come speak at it. I won't charge you a speaking fee.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But if I have to come down on my own dime, then yes, I'm going to have to charge a speaking fee. And as it stands, my speaking fees when I actually go out and teach these classes, but you got to realize I'm teaching audio classes to audio engineers. I'm teaching them the newest piece of equipment that came out. I'm working with manufacturers to go out and show their equipment and show people how to use them properly and stuff. And so my speaking fees are pretty well up there. But
Well, that's a
paranormal,
training class. That's a whole different
Yep.
ball.
Yeah.
well, when I'm speaking to groups about audio recordings and stuff like that, that still falls under a training class
Mhm.
per se. Um, but when it comes to paranormal groups, I don't charge an arm and a leg for paranormal groups. And once again, I'll be like, okay, here's the deal. You cover my gas to get there, and you cover my hotel room and make sure I'm fed, and that's it. I'll teach you all weekend type thing. But now I've had a group that called me in down to Florida to what do you call it, St. Augustine, and we did the fort down there, and they wanted audio recordings of almost every freaking room down there at the fort.
Well, in that case, you were working. You should get
Yep.
paid.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that was expensive. I mean, because I had to have. We not only did we have I was there on a consulting on a paranormal investigation, but they wanted me to continue on with their own deal, And I said, well, I'm going to have extra equipment to do what you need. And I had to have a truck, a 24-foot box truck full of equipment brought in from Kansas City.
Wow.
And so we did two 24-foot box trucks. So which would equal out to about a semi truck full of equipment to do that.
Right.
We know all about that.
Yeah. And that was, oh my gosh. That was crazy. And I spent a whole week down there, and I had to pay the crew that I had bring down. And so, yeah, and that got expensive, and we're talking,
Yeah.
Well,
to rent a truck.
Well, see, and that, we had luckily we have our own trucks. Well, we did before I sold my company, but we had the trucks, but the fuel to come down was expensive.
That's a lot.
Diesel. And then
$5 a gallon.
Yep, and then you had to pay the crew their rate to drive down, and then their day rate to be working. So, and by the time we got done, that was about a $60,000 investigation for them.
Wow.
And see, I understand that. It's just, but your average paranormal conference, you don't need to be bringing in people from Chicago to South Carolina. It's just, you should use regional people.
Well, yeah, regional people, but yeah, there's, and I come in as a guest speaker. I'm coming in as an expert in audio engineering, and that's where my certifications come in and stuff like that. And it just happens to reach over into the paranormal world. But same thing with videographers, we had those guys come in. Yeah, they're going to charge for their time. But once again, we know paranormal groups are on a budget. We know they're on a budget. So once again, as long as we don't charge a $25,000 speaking engagement fee plus hotel and food and per diem and travel expenses. We don't do that. As long as you get me I don't care. I don't have to fly first class. I'll fly budget, to get to a show. I'm not that way. I'll fly down budget. You cover the cost of a return trip ticket, get me down there, get me back, and make sure I'm fed and a place to stay. I'm there, and if I can if I happen to be in the area and I've got a truck full of equipment, I'll bring a truck full of equipment, and have no problem setting it up. But a lot of these places that we go to, I was going up to Iowa on a continuous basis. I had several groups up there that were bringing me up to work with their groups, and we told them, I said, okay, here's the deal: you cover the fuel expenses up, make sure we have a hotel, and you cover our food expenses and stuff. And I said, here's the deal: I says, I only need 2 meals a day. I need breakfast and I need dinner. That's all I need. I don't need lunch, anything in between. And they said, well, what if we do a potluck? I'm like, I don't care as long as there's food there. I just got to have food. And that's what I am. I'm a foodie. I got to have good food. Right. And it doesn't matter. I could eat at McDonald's for dinner. I don't care as long as I'm eating. And there is one other thing I have to have. I have to have coffee in the morning. If I don't have coffee, then it's a no-go. I will not do a show if I don't have coffee. So, and that's pretty easy. I don't need Starbucks. I don't care. You just give me a pot of coffee and I'm happy. But but if they want these big names on the TV shows, yeah, that's what those people do. They charge big, exorbitant speaking fees, and it's like, why? I don't see a reasoning in that.
We don't
and it shouldn't be that way.
No. It should.
But
and most times when they hire these big name people come in, then big name people are stuck up.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And they shouldn't be. They're getting paid.
Yeah.
To be there, to talk to the people.
Yeah. And that's one thing I found out about, South Carolina, or even Kansas City. I spoke at Kansas City a couple times, and I was actually doing some audio classes there, and in South Carolina. You just go around and even though I'm a guest speaker and everything, I'm going to go around and just meet everybody,
Right.
and
That's
get to
me.
know them. And I made more friends down in South Carolina than any other place I've ever been. You just meet great people. And even at Glidden's, when we went down to Joplin, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We had
We had-
way too much fun.
That was
No,
one of
we
the
did.
that was one of our favorite ones. Was Joplin.
Yeah. Yeah, Glidden's was great.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of trouble over the Airbnb. But other than that, the people there that we did meet that actually sat there and listened to us do our talk with them, they were phenomenal.
They were.
Ask
And-
good questions.
Great questions. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And there was the one kid that had cerebral palsy that was
Yep.
there. And I specifically remembered him because he was an 80s metalhead, just like Scott.
Oh yeah.
And oh my gosh, getting those two together is like they started talking 80s metal bands. I'm like, okay, you guys are fine. I'm going to go talk to everybody else. Have a great day.
Oh, yeah.
And then
That kid follows around Supernatural Inc.
okay,
Wherever
Yeah.
they go, you can guarantee he's going to be there because we met
Yeah.
him at the McIntyre Villa.
okay,
Yeah, and I guarantee you, Scott did drink your bottle of wine
uh-huh.
while listening to Motley Crue.
Probably. And oh god, yes. And but yeah, but
Yeah,
you know,
you can picture that too, right?
yeah, oh yeah. Now see, now going back to Joplin, I would love to go down and see that kid again. And actually maybe hopefully meet up with him, on maybe an investigation up here in Kansas City.
Yeah, he
Good.
was big time into it.
He actually
Yep.
lives in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Does he
Yeah.
really?
Yes,
Well,
he
then-
does.
Does he watch the show at all?
I don't know. Like I said, we
we-
met him at the McIntyre
Try
Villa.
and get a hold of him.
Yeah, I would love to get a hold of
We'll
him.
find out.
I can find out
Because-
who he is.
Okay, because I know Scott would go to sit there and talk to him on a Saturday night too
Oh yeah.
about
Yeah.
music. Yes, I definitely want to get a hold of him. And God, there's just so many cool people down there, and and granted, I wish it would have been a little bit bigger, but for as intimate as it was, Joplin was a great show. It was a great show. The foot traffic and everything, there was other events going on.
Right.
Way too many. But
Yes,
you know,
and
that's
that
not the
happens.
first time that's happened.
yep.
No.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time in the event industry. So then oh shoot, another thing that came up, and it's still kind of in the workings now. I may be purchasing or buying into a well-known place up here in Kansas City that is open for investigations here very soon.
Okay.
One of the guys is wanting out of it, and we're trying to work on the negotiations so I can give him a cash offer and buy out the place.
Is
Or at
that
least buy
Kansas
half of it.
City or in Kansas?
It's in Kansas.
Yeah, I know who it is.
So I'm looking at possibly doing that. If the money's right, then I'll see about making that go forward.
Is this a
Or
place
no.
that used to be by where we used to live?
Yep.
I'm not really going to say because
I'm not
If
going
this-
to say where
Is it
where it
Vale?
was.
You think it's
yeah,
Vale?
but
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty well known.
Yeah, it's
And
well.
so
Yeah.
if I can get into
I
it at
was
the
thinking
right,
you might.
right price, if I can get into it at the right price, I'm gonna pull the trigger on it. all I got to do is just go to the credit union and either pull the cash out of the credit union or just get a personal loan and say, hey, this is what I need it for.
Yeah, you're not
And
the only one that I've heard that wants to make an offer on that place.
yeah. So if it comes in right, because I can make it happen in a day. All he's got to just say is give me the number, and if I think I can agree to it, I'll give him the money.
Yeah,
If
Right.
not,
because I
then
know somebody was getting tired of making that drive down there.
yep.
Yeah.
So
So
But,
I'm like,
Well,
Yeah,
other
if you
than
get-
that, what's your favorite place to go in the Kansas City area?
yeah, just not
I
that
would-
place. Don't talk about that one.
We're pretty
Yeah,
sure we
no.
know where you're looking at,
Yeah.
and it's very
Well,
haunted.
I
Very
get
active,
to,
I'll say that.
I actually get to go to places that nobody else can get into. I can get into, say, the Madrid Theater. I can get into the Uptown. I can get into Municipal Auditorium. I can, there's just so many different places that I work in that I could just, after I get done setting everything up, I can just set up microphones any place and just record if I want to.
It's the stuff that's under the municipal auditorium that's unusual.
Yes.
A lot
Yeah.
of people don't think.
It's a weird building.
I've never been in there. I've been outside of it and seen
Mhm.
stuff that's weird. You
Yep.
know, I remember when they were building the Sprint Center.
Yep.
There was a building that used to be there
Mhm.
that got burned down during the Civil War.
Uh-huh.
And they kept saying anything that was ever on that lot burned down.
Yep.
And so I've been waiting for the Sprint Center to burn down, but it didn't.
Is it still called that?
Yep.
No, it's T-Mobile
T-Mobile, I
Arena.
was gonna
Yeah,
say.
T-Mobile now.
T-Mobile.
So, so that lot ended up becoming a parking lot because they got tired of rebuilding stuff on it. And the
Yep.
only thing now that has made it on that has been Sprint/T-Mobile Center.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
And I probably will always call it the Sprint Center because, fun fact, I'm the person at Sprint that put together the requisition for them to purchase the naming rights, the Sprint
Yep.
Center. I know how much that cost the very first time.
Yep.
I'm not
Yep.
allowed to tell you that, but I'm
Yep.
allowed. I mean, I'm not allowed to tell you how much it costs. I'm allowed to
Yep.
tell you that I did it.
And then I have access out at Sandstone. I still know entryways into some of the subway tunnels that were in Kansas City. I know where those are at now. And that's been within the last few years. I found out through friends of mine how to get in. So
That'd be
I never knew
interesting.
they had a subway
Oh
system.
yeah.
they
I'd
did
heard
it
about it.
one time. And there's some stuff over in the West Bottoms, some buildings in the West Bottoms that I have access to. So, and it's a lot of stuff that I think my all-time favorite though is when I was house production manager at the Uptown Theater. Was probably my favorite one because there's hidden places there too. And I was there for 5 years, and there just weird stuff happened in that building. And then the Madrid Theater used to be a hangout for Al Capone when he would come to Kansas City.
Right.
And so there's a couple places there. Their green room used to be where Al would go in and entertain people when he would come to town. And it's now their green room. And then there's a sub basement that they said that there was and you can see the bullet, where the bullets hit the big door down there.
Mhm.
And they say that there's a couple people that were kind of rubbed out down there. So,
Well, one of the weird things about Al Capone that people don't realize is by the time he died, he only had the mind of a child.
yeah,
and
like
syphilis.
a 12-year-old, something like that, because of syphilis.
Yeah, because he'd had syphilis so bad when he was young. Well, he had syphilis and it just ate his brain as he
Yeah.
got older.
Mhm.
And but yeah, I mean, if it was at the time when he was still in his right mind,
Mhm.
it would have been an interesting place to go. But yeah, he died down here in Florida.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but
But hey
yeah.
guys, I am running at 7% left on my phone, and I don't
Okay.
have my charger with me.
That's
Okay,
all right.
big
I
thing.
would love,
Where can
yeah,
everybody find you, Bart?
you can find me on Facebook at Bernard Weekend, and it's Bernard, and then Weekend is spelled WEKEND. And like I said, you can't miss me. My profile picture has a picture of me in a Tigger costume. You can shoot me a friend's request and shoot me a message over there. You can also write on my wall if you want to. And then, and if you want any help with anything, or you have questions you want to ask, shoot me a direct message and I'll send you my phone number, and you can just call me on the phone at any time.
Well, and you guys can also find Paranormal Research Institute on Facebook. And from there, you can find everything else related to Paranormal Research Institute on there. So make sure you check that out. And thank you so much, Bart. And you have a safe drive home.
Okay, great, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah, no
We
problem.
look forward
Bart.
to having you on. You always bring up a lot of great topics.
Okay, well, thanks again. You guys be safe, and everybody else that's listening and watching, y'all be safe too. And hope to hear from y'all soon.
Okay. Have
Thank
a good
you.
evening.
Take
Have a
care,
great
Bart.
night.
Okay, be good. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank goodness
So-
he was hanging out in a parking lot in Lake Winnebago and not downtown Kansas City.
Yeah, that's true. Because somebody would have probably been at his door.
I think he would have kept driving.
Yeah, he probably would have. He
So,
would have.
so guys, make sure you check out Paranormal Research Institute. They got lots
Yeah,
of great
they're-
things.
They got
and-
lots of great stuff if you want to learn more about how to record and investigate in a different way.
Yeah.
And when,
They've got
and
it.
not only that,
Yeah,
scientifically.
We investigated with them,
scientifically.
and they're very good.
Yeah,
They
we
are.
investigated with them in Joplin, and then we investigated with them, like I said, long time ago, when maybe the same year
Yeah.
that they created Paranormal Research Institute.
Right.
So I can tell you that it was Ruby 7 years ago next week, in 2 weeks from now,
Yep.
that we investigated with them.
Right.
We used to call Ruby Baby Utica.
Yeah,
Easy to keep track of the day.
that's right. Oh, man.
I know it's sad, but I'd like to thank everybody for coming in and listening. And I got our dinner done tonight, so
You
we're not
did?
hitting Taco Tuesday. So,
Oh, good.
but yeah, I'd like to invite everybody to come listen to the Paranormal Pride on Monday when I have on guest James McDaniel, and you guys may remember him from Haunted Live.
Yeah.
He was the media guy for the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, and I don't know how he feels about Sparky, but I didn't like him very much. The first guy that they had being the host, the second guy was much better.
Right.
Dee Snyder's kid was much better.
Right.
And but I will tell you something funny. Thinking about Sparky. So when we met the Tennessee Wraith Chasers at the paranormal conference here, I asked them, I said, were you guys really excited when they got rid of Sparky? And all they could do was laugh. I never they knew exactly who I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
without me having
Everybody
to
out
say-
there knows because,
Yep.
It-
yeah.
and I don't know why I called him that to start with, but he had zero personality. But on the other hand, James McDaniel has a huge personality. He's
Oh, yeah.
a really good guy. He's also the media guy for Reels Network, and his big job is OP Live. So if you watch On Patrol Live
Mhm.
and you have any questions about the show, this
Yeah,
is
he
the
can
time to
answer.
ask it. You
Right.
know, because he knows all these guys. He knows Sean Sticks Larkin. He knows Dan Abrams. He knows Tom. And so you guys come, and isn't that his name? Who's the other guy?
Tom.
Tom's the old guy. Who's the new guy? I forgot his name suddenly.
Oh, well, you are going back.
Yeah, Richland. From
Yeah.
Richland County. He knows all the people from Richland County
Oh,
and
right.
all those other counties out there. And they might as well start calling it Florida OP Live, because almost all of it's Florida anymore, or
Right.
South Carolina.
Yep.
So check that out. It's going to be fun. And so
Curtis.
Curtis, that's
Right.
it, Curtis. And the show's going to be on Monday night at 7 p.m. Central, right here on the Bill
I
of
actually
Rights
like
Network.
Curtis better. No.
I do too.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun, and don't be surprised if I'm wearing these aren't my pants from Live PD, because
Yeah.
seems appropriate. So
Hey.
so let's check that out. So please, guys, come back. And then next Tuesday, right now, I don't have a guest, but I will find us one, and we will have a great time next Tuesday here at 5 p.m. Central. And I don't know what else to tell you at this point.
Right.
Other than I know that you guys are extremely happy
Pittman
that the
wants to
Chiefs
come in.
won. I got Chris already
Oh, okay.
scheduled. So
Right.
do you want to talk about your happiness with the Chiefs for a couple
Well,
minutes?
yeah, I'm real happy with them, but they got to play a little bit better. They've got their game on, but they're going to have to ump it a little bit more, because this is going to be a tough Super Bowl game. And we're going to have to see who the referees are.
Well,
You know,
the way I look at it, they're be facing the crappiest quarterback they've had to play in the playoffs. So,
yeah, that's true. They are.
I mean, when I'm handicapping games, I kind of I do it in hockey too, but I see who in the hell is a starting goalie in hockey, because it does make a difference. But in football, yeah, who's your quarterback matchup?
Who's the
It's not even
quarterback and
close.
who's your defense going against quarterback and stuff like that, because right now the Chiefs defense is stepping up the plate. I mean, they are really getting, it's just not a one man show up there. All of them are getting in and sacking and tackling and everything. I mean, it's real good, but they're going to have to tighten up some of these plays and holes. There was some big gaps in there where they made some good runs.
Yeah,
But,
they I went back and watched the Super Bowl when they played the 49ers. They won the first one in forever.
Oh,
They
you mean 5 years ago?
Played absolutely horrible. I mean, till like the last 8 minutes. I mean, they didn't do anything good.
Yeah.
It was weird. I'm sitting there going, well, I know the result of this game, but you would have thought there's no way they're winning. And then they end up blowing them out.
One thing I liked about the championship game is when they won it and they went up to hand off the Lamar Hunt trophy, right?
Yeah.
And Jan Stenerud, I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was still alive.
Yeah.
He's looking back. Me and Gary was talking the other day and thinking back to the Chiefs that won the Super Bowl in '69, right?
Yeah.
And everything going. He may be the only living one still out there.
Len Dawson didn't he die right before all this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he got
C19. Bobby Bell's gone. All of them back in those days.
Yeah, they have a lot of them have died.
That's what I was wondering. I was shocked when he was up there, and before they announced his name, I was looking at him going, he looks familiar. And then when they said Jan, I went Stenerud.
Yep.
You know, and everything.
Do you think that Reed will retire?
He's talking about it.
Is he?
Yeah.
So let's see. We didn't hear anything till about a week ago.
So is Kelsey. Kelsey's talking retiring after this season.
Well,
he looks like an old man. Every time he gets up, he looks like, can't even get up.
I mean, we only got, 4 years left on Mahomes' contract and stuff, and we'll see what he does after that. You know, he's not hurting for any money. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like one of the things I told Ron, I said, yeah, I may not care for football, but Mahomes is going to be considered one of the greatest ever. 5 years, 4 Super Bowls. It doesn't matter how I feel about football or how I'm sick and damn tired of hearing everything Chiefs and Kelsey and Taylor.
Yeah, I'm a fan of who I bet on.
But I will tell you one thing. How many times should you hear the name Taylor Swift during a sports broadcast?
0.
You shouldn't hear it, or maybe once, but not every time Kelsey runs or
Touches the
catches a
ball.
pass or anything, the camera has to go up there to her and
Yeah.
everything. And I'm
It's
like,
one
oh
thing
my
seeing his
God.
mom. It's one thing seeing his mom get all excited when he does good, but
Well, they
The-
don't
the
show
beehive
her
is broken.
every time he drops one
no.
or two or three or four a game.
No, they
So,
don't.
but that's one of the things I want people. It's a drinking game now. Every time they mention Taylor Swift during the football game, you have to drink.
You're right.
They show
You'll
her.
be
They
passed
mention
out
her.
by
You're
halftime.
gonna
Most
be
of,
gone
most
by
of
You'll
them
have to
won't
take
make it
the
to the
game.
fourth quarter if they do that.
Right.
Right.
You won't even know who won.
Not-
You'll
not-
have to tape it.
Well, that's why I said we're watching first things first. And I heard her name like 12 times. And it's like, this is a sports broadcast. Why am I hearing her name? She doesn't play sports. We're
Mm-mm.
watching.
Can't sing.
We were
but
watching
that's
this
just my
morning
opinion.
Varney. Okay. Varney on Fox. Why did I keep hearing her name on a business broadcast that had,
Mhm.
you know, talking about her tour? I don't care. So, you know,
And I don't give a crap about her politics either.
right.
I don't either.
We should,
I damn sure don't. And
Yeah.
anyone that wants to listen to her, she's an idiot. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
so, well, good luck to, you know, everybody, you know, this isn't one of those times when you can vote and see who wins. But
That-
if you want to watch the Super Bowl, watch the Super Bowl and have a great time. And, you know, Usher might be one of the better shows.
it might be.
It's better than what they've had, and I don't even watch if
Hey,
it's somebody I don't even watch halftime. I just fast forward.
the one I
Right.
liked was the one with what's his name, Uptown Funk, Bruno Mars. That one was good.
Probably the last good one.
Prince's was really good.
Prince and
Right.
Michael Jackson. That's about it.
Janet Jackson, not so much.
Right. Well, we want to thank Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment's Facebook page for allowing us to go live there. Things Network, Facebook, the Bill of Rights Network, Facebook, where we're at. Also over on Born TV on Rumble and Japan Paranormal, because we're always live in Japan. So all over the world. But we want to thank everybody tuning in on Rumble, tuning in over here and chatting with us on the Facebook and YouTube channels and everything like that. We always appreciate it. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. So, everybody, we will see you next Tuesday night on Paranormal Nation Radio. And here in an hour, Conservative View will be on. So enjoy, and we'll see you next week.